Is it possible that one of the most famous chord sequences in the world is played wrong, notated wrong, and tabbed wrong by nearly everyone on the internet? Let It Be is one of the most famous Beatles songs. It's also one of the most covered by literally thousands of people all over the world. Let's take a look at the facts. According to what I found online, there's somewhere in the region of 191 versions of this song recorded by various different artists over the years. On another website that I checked, it said that there were 628 versions of it, so make of that what you will. The point is, it's the 5th most covered Beatles song. Of course, that number does not include the thousands of versions uploaded to TikTok, YouTube, etc., and also the versions used in film and TV. Let It Be is also a really popular choice for cover bands and at open mic nights. I've even played it a few times myself. However, recently, to my horror, I discovered that I've been playing it wrong the whole time. How could this have happened? Could it be that it's become such a part of our culture, almost a folk song at this point, that parts of the original song have been lost in translation? A sort of musical Mandela effect, if you will. Perhaps it's people like me who are most guilty of this. If someone asked me, can you show me how to play Let It Be? I certainly wouldn't need to go away and listen to it first to be able to demonstrate to them how it goes. And maybe that's how it starts. Let's rewind a couple of weeks. This is my dad. His name's Eddie. He's an amazing guitarist and songwriter, and he was in a band called Aaron in the 1970s, and they toured the UK and the USA extensively. Recently, he started taking piano lessons with me, which has been a lot of fun. He's doing so well. We're a few weeks in, we're putting hands together with chords, and we thought we'd have a go at Let It Be. First of all, he's a massive Beatles fan, so it ticks that box. And also, it's pretty easy to play. He'd learned the chords, and he can already play it on guitar. So I'd always winged it a little bit in the past when I played this song, because I thought I knew it. But if I'm teaching a song to a student, particularly if it's a song that's got a very distinct piano part, I like to make sure they learn how to play it as close to the record as possible. So I did what I always do when learning a new song. I popped the song on Spotify, put my headphones on, sat at the piano and listened to it a bar at a time. But when I got to the chorus, I was in for a surprise. The chorus starts with a chord of A minor and then G major, or so I thought. On a closer listen, I could clearly hear that that second chord was C major, not G major, as I'd always thought it was. Had I really been hearing it wrong this whole time? I texted Matt to ask his opinion. What's the second chord in the chorus of Let It Be, Beatles? I always thought it was G, but listen to the song and it sounds like C/G.
C over G, common mistake. Good video idea.
I should add at this point that Matt is a Beatles nerd, so I knew that we got to the bottom of the matter. But I thought I'd just double check some chord sheets online to see if I was the only person in the world who'd made this mistake. And what I found was very interesting. Almost all of the chord charts I looked at online, sheet music included, were wrong. Every single chord chart in the world says G, lol. Some people had put the second chord as a G, like me. I also saw A minor over G, E minor. Fair play, some people did get it right. But the question is, why are so many people getting it wrong? Let It Be is in the key of C major, and we start the chorus with an A minor chord. The bass notes in the first half of the chorus are A, G, F, and C. So it would be very easy to assume that the chords would follow those bass notes. For example, A minor, G major, F major, C major. The second chord is in fact C major, not G major. However, the second bass note is not playing a C. It plays a G instead. What this means is we're forming what is known as a slash chord. In this case, C over G, which is a chord in which the bass note played is not the root note of the chord. These chords can sometimes be tricky to spot because our ears naturally gravitate towards the more prominent bass notes with regard to the key signature or any harmonic changes. The slash chord here, C over G, adds a richness to the chorus that gives it a sort of gospel-y, spiritual feel. When you play A minor and then G, the chord progression sounds quite basic, but when you add C over G there, it just gives more depth to it. Another reason that the slash chord works so well here is because the bass maintains a descending pattern rather than jumping back up to the C. It gives a sense of movement and progression. Another thing to note about the C over G is that it sounds unresolved, unlike the regular tonic chord of C with C in the bass. This means that when we hit the plagal cadence from F to C, it just feels a lot more satisfying and it gives that final chord much more weight to it and more of a sense of release. This works really nicely with the lyrics, which are about letting go. C over G is stately and solemn. It's rich sounding. And G, instead of the C as the root note, imparts tension and suspense to the chord sequence.
Oh, hello there, folks. Hope you're enjoying the video. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and be honest in the comments. Did you think it was a G? Back to you, Lou.
As I mentioned earlier, when I was checking this online, I noticed various different versions of that second chord, one of which was A minor over G. I could see why you might think that. The melody line hits an A just before the chord happens, and I suppose A minor is only one note different than C major. The problem with that though is that you can hear his right hand move on that second chord, which I suppose is a tick in the box for G, which does move. The least common mistake made on the internet was to put an E minor as the second chord. And I'll hold my hands up, I've done this one as well. I've no idea why. Again though, it is only one note different from the C over G, so they're all really close. After all said and done, I suppose the best way to find out for sure what that chord is would be to ask the man himself. Sir Paul, welcome to the channel. He's not here. The take-home message here is don't believe everything you read on the internet. If you're learning a song, take the time to listen to it. Once you get used to the sound of certain chords, it's much easier to recognise them straight away. Also, for any songwriters out there, why not try experimenting with slash chords yourself? They're a great way to add interest to your bass lines, while also giving a soulful feel to the chords. Many thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more updates on my dad's progress on the piano. Please consider subscribing and giving the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. We'll see you Friday.